Hello, everyone. Welcome to Microsoft Ignite on the session of Azure OpenAI services and generating images. We are very happy to be here to try to do this amazing demonstration and learning these new technologies. Because here's the thing, a lot is talking about generative AI, but generative AI is a whole world. So sometimes they say about, oh, we know how those things really work, but how do they work? So we are here to help you with that. I am Pablo Lopez. I am a global cloud advocate here at Microsoft. My specializations are on AI, programming languages like Python, .NET, and we are here to move forward. So we're gonna reshare our slides here because I believe you've seen that are kind of bugged out. So let's reshare. But while that, I'm gonna present myself, and we're really happy to be here doing a lot of things. So what are we gonna do today? So as I said before, we're gonna talk about a lot relating to all other things of Azure OpenAI. We're gonna do some demos because, of course, we cannot be without demos on demonstration of technology and how this really works. Since like the schematics on the small parts and then how it structures an image on from that. That's an introduction from me as well. Alicia, tell me about yourself a little bit.
Thank you, Pablo, and hello, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon from wherever you are seeing us. I'm Alicia Tapia. I'm a partner technical strategist in Tech for Social Impact, and I'm just happy to be here and can't wait to tell you everything about the use of Delhi in Azure OpenAI Studio.
Excellent. So I will want you to follow along with this module. So uh, please, Alicia, can you move back just to everyone? Scan the QR code here. We have a QR code just you to learn live a little bit more. And you can, if you want to follow with a web link, don't worry. It's aka.ms/learn live dash 2023 1115B. That's the way that we can follow those modules with us and take a look on how this establishes. Now, let's talk about our moderators as well, because we cannot do anything without them. So we have Konstantin, we have Julia, we have Julian. By the way, Julia did an amazing session on Cosmos DB with a lot of things of AI. So if you want, watch her VOD. It's amazing. And say hi to them. Where you're talking from. That's great. And by the way, any questions, please put in the chat and you're gonna see how you're gonna have your moderators helping you understand this amazing world. Again, this is remembering, this is a module. So this is the QR code you can scan or go to aka.ms/learn live dash 2023 1115B. So I already talked about the learning objectives, but just that to recap you. Describe the capabilities in DALI in Azure OpenAI Service, DALI Playground, and use the OpenAI REST interface to integrate DALI with anything else. Because DALI can have a lot of possibilities for you and your not only your company, but maybe your hobby. We don't know. We have a lot of things we can do with generative AI images. As I said, say hi, ask questions on chat. We are here to help and we are here to grow with you to understand this amazing world. Let's finally start talking. Hooray! So let's introduce yourself a little bit to that. So we have here Azure OpenAI, but you may ask yourself, what what do we have here, right? Because we have a lot of things. Satya announced a lot of things amazing on this Ignite session. So we had GPT-4 announced on this Ignite, Turbo, which is amazing. We had Turbo announced, and I have some things with Codex, etc. But Dolly, right? So I have here the Dolly models, and that's what we're talking about. But what is technically Dolly? If we're gonna look in a more easy way, GPT is text having as a prompt, generating and then generating more text. codecs are basically code, text to code. So you have text, you have here a neural network, and processes, goes and creates code. And DALL-E does exactly text to images. So that's what we're gonna talk, and here we're gonna show a basic example of that on the screen. GPT-3, how it does, like write a tagline. Codecs here have a prompt that they have code and some prompt on code, and here you have some prompts like write a skills query for all those customers in Texas with name Jane. And here DALL-E, what it does is have a prompt here, a white time is cat, and you get the response. But for now, very superficial, right? We're not talking about anything about the basics. We need to more advance it. So let's go to next part. But before we go there, we must remember that the Azure OpenAI service is restricted for Azure subscriptions. So we need to request and be approved. For that, you can use this QR code that you're seeing, or you're going to link on chat. So take a look on that. And for more details, you can read on this link as well. How can you get access to Azure OpenAI? Now, finally, what is DALL-E, Pablo? You're talking too much about that. So what it uses is a diffusion model plus clip. So now I have to explain because we have here big jump, right? I talked about it's text that generates images, right? So that is too simple, but now I'm talking diffusion models, clip. What is clip? What is a diffusion model? So we can see here an example. This is an architectural, it was an architectural image made with DALL-E 3 with Bing Chat, now Copilot, because everything changed name now. So now we are going down. But let's take a look at how this really works. So there you go. This is the paper from DALL-E 2. So we have, you can see here a dotted line. This is how they separated training from generation. So here first we have a first NN, which is a text encoder. What this does? So basically we have here text, right? But you need to categorize the text in some way, right? You cannot deliver a full string and then bah on the neural network. Doesn't work like that. We cannot do anything with that. So we need something to encode this text in some way that is easy to put in a neural network. So here you're gonna have this text encoder, and then you're gonna have like this big vector numbers. So people call those embeddings, and the embeddings can do a lot of good things. We can, and the good part about embeddings is that we can transport them from neural network to neural network because we already know the standards of each embeddings from that. So with this, that's already amazing because this can link directly. So what are you doing? Training is basically you have the classics. You have the objective and the image encoder. But we are not here talking about the minutia of training. We're here to talk about generation. So we have those embeddings from the text we had before, and then they're gonna have clip. Clip is going to try to describe these embeddings in some way. Why? Because clips tries to understand text or the representation of text into some kind of idea. So it's basically, we try to convert those embeddings to other types of embeddings. But what is good about clip is that it is great in understanding. So if you put images, because it works in reverse as well, clip. We can put images and get text, right, to try to describe this, but sometimes it's not good enough on doing that. So then what here we have clip with, we have this embedding, and then let's try to do, what can I do with this embedding? I can have inputs for seeds. So they put like this big pattern of seeds that they're gonna put on the diffusion model. So now we have to ask, what is a diffusion model, right? When talking about clip. So we know clip can resignify like this kind of, text, like text, quote unquote, into some kind of seeds. But what does this diffusion model does? They pick those seeds, quote unquote, and then they're gonna try to aprimorate those seeds because they had a lot of training. See the training above, they have like this image decoder. So what it's going to do now is like, okay, I got those seeds. I understand what Clippy is saying. What can I do with this? Then it starts to generate. Then you're gonna have a generate a decoder, and then done. You have your amazing image. So, and by the way, that's why you see in training is an image encoder, because we're doing the reverse process. We're picking the image with the text, we are recoding. Clip is trying to understand what image relates to text, and then it trains the text encoder. That's how it works. So picks text, the image encoder picks what will be the clip objective, what clip should do as the correct seeding to the text encoder. So for training, they put here the image and the text and train clip to do the correct seedings. After this, when you try to generate, we're gonna have just the encoder here. Then let's try to, then clip is already trained. It know how to generate those seeds, and then the decoder with all those seeds and embeddings is going to do the image correctly. But you may ask, how does the decoder know with those seeds what to generate? Simple. It knows because we had DALL-E 1. DALL-E 1 was very specialist on just try generating with a lot of layers, and then try to progress, for each time when analyze the RGB values, and then it goes create patterns, etc. So I hopefully that was a explanation. Any questions, please let us know here in the chat. And if the explanation was very good, copy and paste and share with your friends. Tag us on LinkedIn, Pablo Nunes Lopez, Alicia Tapia as well. I want to see a lot of participation on this Ignite. So now you know a lot about DALL-E. Great. Fun fact though, DALL-E, yes, it came from a pun. DALL-E is just a pun from Wally and DALL-E. Has nothing special. It's nothing new. It's just that it's trying to do this pun for, because it's funny, right? It's a robot, and Salvador DALL-E, it hallucinates, it's trying to create things. So now we're gonna explore a little bit on Azure OpenAI Studio as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you. Before we commence on the experimentation and the lab today, I want to make sure that you have going to those two links and you have your Azure subscription. If you have not applied to your Azure OpenAI subscription, do not worry. This session will be recorded so you can follow us along in the lab, right, step by step, and then you can go back and rewatch it, and then yeah, just go back, rewatch it, and just follow us along there. Couple things now to explore the Lean Azure OpenAI Studio. Besides the fact that you can provision the Azure OpenAI service resource, when using the playground, you can adjust the settings where you can specify three things. The first one, you want to specify the prompt, right? What is the description of the image that you want to generate? Number two, you also want to specify N, which is the number of images that you want. And number three, you want to specify the resolution, the size of the generated image or images. The available sizes that we have right now is 256 times 256, 512 by 512, or 1024 by 1024, which will be the default value. Now, I'm going to also give you some, hints.
The capabilities.
Yes, Paula?
The capabilities of DALL-E, because DALL-E can do a lot of things, and that's incredible.
Yes, exactly. So, a couple of hints that I can give you, because when working with prompts, just make sure that your prompts are specific, that are unambiguous, right? You can also use high quality images. DALL-E works best with high quality images that are well lit and in focus. Now, I know there may be some question in the chat about DALL-E 3. As you know, as it progresses, the resolution, the image, the quality, it gets better. You can also use multiple prompts, and by using multiple prompts, this will help DALL-E to generate more accurate images. So a couple of things that we can control with these images, right? Let's say, for instance, that you're a Pottery Barn looking for a new summer collection, right? You can control attributes. This is something that even Salvador Dali may appreciate. Or you may be looking for t-shirt designers or an architect with ideas for rendering. You can control contextual details. In this case, we see a picture of a capybara, but we can define what's happening in the background, like with a sunset in the background, things like that. How about maybe combining completely unrelated concepts, right? In this case, a monkey wearing a funny hat, or the picture of a snail with a harp made out of a harp, something that it just doesn't exist. We can also use cascading design. I was trying to think of a real life example application. If you have some ideas, please help us putting in the chat.
Yeah,
We'll
let
like
us
to hear that.
know. Put on chat. Could go back, Alicia, a little bit? Just to chat. Tell us a little bit of Jiro short visual reasoning examples. We want to know more from you. So put here and let us know. Sorry, Alicia, you can go forward.
You're perfect, Pablo. Remember, you can also draw multiple objects, right? One on top of the other one behind. Visualizing perspective. This one is pretty cool because you can work with multiple dimensions. The next one, I was going to put an example of a brain, but I thought maybe it was going to be too graphical. So we're sticking with the walnut. So see, like external structures, there's like million applications. Geographic and temporal knowledge, you can say like a picture set in the 1920s, right? Or like mesmerizing, a specific season, things like that. And lastly, another example that I wanted to throw you up here, it's combining unrelated concepts. I have seen using anime and it looks pretty cool. Now, let's get hands-on on the lab. But before, let's just do a quick recap about those 3 things that I mentioned before. When we are utilizing the Azure OpenAI REST API to consume DALL-E models, we need to provide a prompt, a code with a prompt, right? And which is the number of images and the size. Here you can see an example in a JSON format, right? This is a JSON body where you're saying our prompt, and we're saying, give me a badger wearing a tuxedo. What do you think the response will be? The response, it's going to be similar of the JSON object. It's going to be returned. And what it's going to have is a collection of URL elements, each of which reference a PNG image file generated from the prompt. In this example, the file might look similar to an image of a badger wearing a tuxedo. I don't have the image here, but we're gonna use it in the exercise. All right. So everybody, if you have the link at hand, go ahead and open it up. I'm gonna switch my screen so that I can start working on the studio.
So we're gonna start here.
All right, everyone. So you
basics. Oh, sorry. I was talking while we were opening. So we're gonna start with a very simple. Sorry, Alicia, go for it.
Thanks, Pablo. The link that you have in hand should open the Microsoft Learn module, right? So again, 2 things. Before you start, let's make sure that you have your Azure subscription. I'm going to go to my Azure subscription, right? And make sure that you have Azure OpenAI service. A couple things I'm just going to go that you should have in hand. Once you sign in into Azure portal, go ahead and create your Azure OpenAI resource. Remember, the things that you should have is, as I'm going to be pointing in my screen, location. Select East United States, East US. For the pricing tier, select standard S, S as in sun, 0. Standard S0, right? Make sure that you have your resource group where you have your Azure OpenAI resource, your subscription. And in name, select a unique name of your choice. For mine, I put Azure OpenAI Test AT. So Alicia Tapia. Now, let's go and open the Azure OpenAI Playground. You can go to your playground from here. If you click on Go to Azure OpenAI Studio, what it's going to happen, it's going to open another window where your playground. Now, I have already, if you can see, a couple of images here that I put. Pablo, what do you think? Would you like to give me a prompt, an idea of a prompt?
Of course. So let's go back and try to implement some of the things that Alicia said. You saw 8 concepts in how DALL-E can generate images. So we have, for instance, let's go start with a house. So let's write here a Victorian house. So let's go with a Victorian house. Then let's say I want a photograph. So, but it's an old photograph. Let's see like an 80s photo of a Victorian house. Then we can try to put right locations. So let's put in England. So
in the 80s?
Yeah, exactly. So while it generates, you can see it should be, you should add photograph as well, photograph in the 80s because it's the picture, right? Because this can gives us a concept of, it knows how a 80s photograph looks like, right? We have some a little bit of the that's cool. That's amazing already because I have a little bit of the oh my god, there was a abnormal chromation that they have on the photos as well. So these are some of the things that we have on the Incredible. So okay, that's amazing. And let's not stuck at photos. Let's do something even better. Let's get Alicia talked about a little bit on anime, right? So Alicia, what an idea that you would have with anime here to generate?
Well, for this one, what we used it's the Sir Capybara.
The Sir Capybara, yeah, incredible.
Sitting in the avocado chair that we did yesterday. The other thing that I want to mention is if you use exactly the same prompt twice, it's not going to give us the same image as you can see. And here is a good example, right? In this, as you can see, like I put a large prompt, a 3D render of a coffee mug placed in a window. See, on a windowsill during a stormy day. The storm outside, the window is reflected in the coffee with miniature lightning bolts and turbulent waves sink inside the mug. The room is dimly lit, adding to the dramatic atmosphere. See, both it's using the same prompt, however, it's not the same image. And I bet if we do it again, it's not going to give us the same image. Now, one thing that I want to show you, as you can see here, you have a couple of options. You can copy the prompt so that we can use it yet another time. You can generate a new image if you didn't quite like that one. You can download your image and you can see the code. Now let's go and take a look to that code because there's something else I want to show you. This code, as you can see here, it's in Python, right? This is the JSON object that I was talking about. And here is the JSON object that I was talking about. Here, again, we're seeing the prompt, the N is the number of images, and the size. All right, let's go back to our Azure OpenAI test so that we can prepare our environment to start generating some images. Now, You are in your Azure OpenAI resource. Let's go to the bash.
Wow.
Let's go to the Cloud Shell and then make sure that where it said bash in the drop down, if you have PowerShell, select bash.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, we need to make sure that we are installing this piece of code. So with the bash open, I'm going to paste this in the chat window. You should be able to see it if you're following us in this section. Use the REST API to generate images. Once we have pasted the code, now we should be able to navigate to the folder for the language that we want to select. In this case, for this example, I'm going to follow Python.
I love Python. While Alicia here and goes to Python, I want to answer one of the questions here on live. So Sarah asked here, let me get the question. As someone will find out what is the best way to describe a specific composition of images, it is trained on arts terminology. Yeah, so Dolly is really smart. Technically, I need to give I would talk about prompt design a lot because prompt design is something that I'm really passionate about. But yes, it is really good on that. But we need to know what the specifics it means because remember it have clip, so we have like the image and then the prompt, and then we train clip in the middle. So you have to understand. Okay, what is the correct term that clip we understand that to create the correct scene? That should be your question here. So it's not just type something and magic. You have to understand, okay, what clip wants from me that can generate the correct scenes for the diffusion model? That should be your question here. So yes, it can understand a lot of R terms. It's really good at it. We have like I actually have a formula for the big descriptions in how to generate those things, but you need to understand. Okay, can I go through this way or that way? You need to experiment with a little bit, but the bigger the prompt, usually the better. As I said, on the if you fulfill like those 8 prerequisites, it tends to generate great images. Back to you, Alicia. I had to answer that question. And ask questions. We are here to help you.
Yes, yes, yes. Remember, this is a live session. Okay, so now you have navigated to your folder. You are in your folder. If you are following the example for C#, at the end of this directory, you should have C# instead of Python. Now, let's use the following command to open the built-in code editor. We're going to type code space dot. Excellent. So now we can see here our files. This file is the one that defines the environment. I'm not going to open that file because I want to tell you what's in there. What you're going to find in there is a place where you need to paste your keys and endpoint. So now I'm going to go to my Azure OpenAI Test AT. On the resource management, click keys and endpoint. Here is where you're going to find your endpoint and your keys. You can copy it to clipboard here and then navigate to the .env file, paste there your information. Excellent. Now let's go to generate image .py file. Here is where you're gonna, now that you have configured your application, right, you should be seeing these 2 files. Update the configure. After updating the configuration values, if you're using Python, you'll also need to install the python-.env package. I have already installed it, but if you haven't done it, start typing pip space install space python-.env. I'm going to put it here in my code. Python-.env for environment. I hope that you have, and It'll take a couple of seconds after you have installed your Python. All right, now let's get ready to explore the code. All right. I bet that you're starting to recognize some of the sections in the code. As you can see here, the code makes the HTTP request to the endpoint for your service, right? These are one of the key features. The other one is the process consists in two REST requests. One is to initiate the image generation request, and the other one to retrieve the results. The initial request will include our data, the one that we have been talking about during the session. The prompt, just gonna remove this one, includes the prompt, the number of images, which we said is gonna be 1, and the size. In this case, I'm selecting 512 times 512. I'm gonna save it. Okay. The response header from the initial request will include the operation location value that is used for the subsequent callback to get the results. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the section where the poll makes the callback URL once the job has succeeded. And it's gonna pass as the response. Excellent. Now, let's take a look and generate the image.
Let's do some magic.
Let's type Python space generate dash image.py. Now here we're getting our question. It's what is the prompt? Pablo, do we have some comments in our chat window? Anyone would like to give it a try and give us a scenario?
We have 30 seconds of delay, so I'm gonna say to our moderators, sorry, this is impromptu. Pick a suggestion from the chat. I want everyone from chat suggesting something to generate, and not moderators here pasting their best ideas. While we wait a little bit for the generation, I want to always say, any questions, please let us know. I know we talked a lot, but basically what you're doing here is we have a Python file that gets from our environment every keys, endpoints it needs, then it's sending to the OpenAI API or Azure OpenAI API, and then it's trying to generate from here. So this is what we are doing right now, and it's great because it's working. So one of our moderators said one, I want to know another. Have two? Can you have two? But let's go to the first one then. Michael Jackson playing for the Lakers.
Michael Jackson flying a what?
Playing for the Lakers. Lakers are a American team. I believe it's basketball. But if it is not, I'm gonna be the people will not like that.
Okay. I cannot see Michael Jackson playing for the Lakers. I thought you say rooting.
Oh no, delete that because he can root as well if he wants to. There you go. Right. Enter.
What do you think that we're gonna get in a response?
I don't know. That's a question. But I'm really excited. Oh no, so many suggestions are coming now. I love these. I gotta generate one more later after this. And then we're gonna go to our next topic. But I believe we're right now doing great. So we're gonna wait while the blob generates. So what are we expecting here is getting a blob. I believe to better get a blob URL that then you can show you.
That is correct.
So wild magic. Okay. We are live, guys. Live stream.
We are live, but it's okay. We can what it the output should be the URL. So we can also get this URL from a different place. So
yeah, show them. I believe we had one that we generated to have
And
to the
in
prompt.
the real life scenarios, I also wanted to share here because this is where you make the connection from Azure OpenAI Studio. You can also use the API management to make the connection. And in the real life scenarios, let's go take a look at that. So here we are in Azure API management, and I created a connection to my Azure OpenAI API Studio. Now let's give it a try and use a test here on this one.
Yeah, this is a API management. At least I told you that I did repeat. That is amazing because it says an API, the HTTP request. I love the tools that we have in Azure. We have bazillion tools to do the same things, and you can, experiment. Try another one that we got here. Okay, you got Michael Jackson.
Oh,
what we got?
Bad response. So I think that there is then something.
Oh, content policy violation. Yeah, so we need to take care of that. So try another one. Draw a velociraptor driving a race car. That does not violate policy, so that should work. Because here's the thing. That's a good point to remind you. So what happened here? Michael Jackson is a person, and this can violate policy. So usually when something violates policy, it just returns nothing to us. So here,
perfect.
And the velociraptor worked.
Perfect. Yes, the perfect.
I love when I have explanations for things. So basically what happened is Michael Jackson, you cannot have the name of someone to generate something. So if you pick political names, anything it would not generate, it's gonna get you 404. I mean, yeah, play basketball, but that's amazing. So that was the problem with the Michael Jackson prompt. So take care of your prompts. Your prompts we need to take care on our OpenAI, Azure OpenAI policy. So now we have to show another example. Alicia, I know you have something with low code. Can you show us?
Absolutely. So first, do you want to give it a try to another one in the API management? I just want to make sure here that we're all following some of the real life example that we can use from Azure OpenAI Studio on other Microsoft products.
I have one.
I wanna take a look here to our HTTP response. Excellent. Then now this time we got the 200, right? And it's a call to the OpenAI service. So this is our response. It's the URL, the JSON format. Another example, right now that you mention it, because we say like, yeah, we talk about maybe in a campaign, in marketing, in a t-shirt. Let's give a look now to maybe customer insight, where you may recognize of marketing D365. So what I did for this example, Pablo, is using our amazing Copilot here. I asked the Copilot, hey, give me an idea. I want to generate an email template for an upcoming campaign, an upcoming marketing campaign that I have where I want to do online fundraising. Online fundraising and, upcoming season, Christmas season. Help me a little bit with the text, and also why not I want to include an image. So here is the text that it generated, a couple of ideas. I put the first one. And in order to generate the image, I didn't go to my Azure OpenAI API or my studio. What I did is I created that API management in a Power Platform, Power Apps Canvas application. And I said, here, give me an image that I can use for an email template campaign in D365 for Christmas. And it generated a URL. So this image, if we see the properties, it's this URL that was generated by OpenAI, Delhi. See, Azure OpenAI, Delhi. You can also use it for if you have a Canvas application. Sometimes it has happened to me when I'm creating Canvas app, especially with the logos, right? For small icons. We know that we can go to different places, but you can also use it to generate some icons, right? In this example, I said, hey, give me an icon of a hospital that I can use. So then you can have it, save it in your resources, and use it as part of your application. What do you think, Pablo?
For me, it looks incredible because I really like the ways we can use that easily and quickly to do, small things for your applications. So I gotta have here one question that we got. It's like, the funny thing, it works with some celebrities and not for others. It's made because of the people that put some private policy. Yeah, because we are working hard on, establishing the policy to apply to everyone. So slowly but surely are improving our systems to do that and grow everything that we're doing with that. So yes, now you know more. Technically, we need to take, and if you use celebrity names or famous people, sometimes copyrighted material. And I must remember that Azure OpenAI is not OpenAI. It means that there are some things for us that we deem sensible because Azure is used by companies everywhere with a very security and have a very stringent, no, not only intellectual but as well privacy policy. So we need to take care about other edge cases that other companies like sometimes don't use. So we need to be very careful of those. Let's go back to the slides. Okay. We are waiting here for the slides to come back, but you right now we saw the demo. The demo was amazing, and right now
Yes.
we are going to do.
Okay. So, Pablo, just super quickly before we go to our knowledge check, because I know that we
Yeah.
have the knowledge check and our amazing poll, I just want to remind everybody once you finish playing in the playground, working, generating images, just remember to remove your Azure Research, turn them off so that it got, yeah, clean everything up so that, yes, exactly, so that you don't get, you know, continues to generate and connect to the service.
Take
Now,
care.
Pablo, what do you think? How about if now that we have covered, how to generate images, a couple of nice use cases, how about if we go to the knowledge check?
Let's go to the knowledge check, everyone. Welcome to the knowledge check. I hope you guys are ready. Will be very simple, but will be very exciting. So, moving to that, we have this question. Question number one: scan this QR code or go to the link which is pasted right now. I practice to read all the links so I know aka.ms/post-b. We have to be inclusive so people can try to do it. But there you go. I'm gonna read this question. Question number one. You want to use a model on Azure OpenAI to generate images. Which model should you use? DALL-E, GPT-35 Turbo, Text DaVinci. So right now, take a
Start
look.
voting. Yes.
Start voting. I'm seeing some votes. I'm already seeing some votes. I want more. I want more. Yeah, come on, baby. We're seeing some votes.
Yes, I think that we were doing a good job, Pablo, of like repeating some of the key ideas here.
I gonna wait some seconds here to give the folks here opportunity to vote. Mm-hmm. Okay, I gonna close the poll in 10 seconds. Okay, it's closed. It is
Excellent. So
done.
you want to see the answer?
I want to see the answer. What the answer is? Wow, what a big surprise. We talked about DALL-E for an hour almost. So DALL-E had 53 votes out of 54. That's incredible. And let's go to the next one.
Yes. Which playground in Azure OpenAI Studio should you use to explore image generation, Paolo?
That is a good question. I really want to explain more about the other ones that we're missing here, but we have a lot of things talking about Azure OpenAI Studio. Azure OpenAI Studio is a world that we can talk a lot, and that's one of my main specialties here in Microsoft. So that's why I really enjoy talking about this. I'm gonna wait until we finish. But while this happens, and Alicia, what was your favorite part of your demo?
I don't know. I think I really like the flexibility of utilizing, our Azure OpenAI Studio applications in other Microsoft products, such as D365, Power Platform. We didn't go to that one, but it could even be a Graph API to our Outlook's email generation. Yes. So I would say that it's the flexibility, definitely, and the possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I believe we stabilized. Let's going to finish very soon. Okay, what is the correct answer?
The correct answer
is of course
right.
DALL-E. So
Absolutely.
completions,
Yes.
what it does is trying to complete a text word. So you have an incomplete text, it tries to complete with a prompt. Chat is the classic chat GPT. You get answer, question, answer, question, answer, question. You have the dynamic. Completions is just the classic API call that you have something to complete.
Yeah.
And DALL-E?
And we have one more question.
Ooh, so exciting. What is the question? Okay, in a REST request to generate images, what does the N parameter indicate? The description of the desired image, the number of images to be generated, the size of the image to be generated. Vote here. We have here some time to talk about, and it's very easy because I want to remember those. I will not remember what N is. I will not talk here what N is, but these are the only things you need.
Don't give them clues. Don't give them clues.
I'll not give them clues. I'm not giving them clues. I'm just saying that that's the only thing you need with Azure OpenAI generate images. It's so simple. You just get your prompt, get your number, get your size, it is done. Then you're gonna have amazing things to generate and show to everyone. So here, while you wait, it's here talking. Okay. I believe it's close to finishing. Let me see. Yeah. So the correct answer is B. The number of images to be generated. We got amazing participation, 82 voters. Thank you so much for it. 91%, 81%, 98%. It's incredible. You guys actually paid attention. We're really glad for that. So let's go to the summary.
Yes, let's do a quick recap of everything that we learned today.
We talked a lot. Yeah. So,
it was quite a lot. And I think if we have some question or scenarios that we want to cover, like just let us know in the chat, Pablo, just as a reminder.
That's your last chance.
This is a recording call, so you can always come back and watch it if you want to rewatch some of the scenarios that we covered. And let's
I would
go to the summary.
Yeah. By the way, question to that, but in summary, right now you learned how to describe the capabilities of DALL-E in Azure OpenAI service. You learn how to use the playground, and not only the playground, but we got as well a API demo and a real application demo with Azure OpenAI REST interface to integrate DALL-E to your image generation into your applications.
Exactly. And now, if you want to keep learning, remember the module, we went strictly to the lab. But in the link that we share, there is a module, step-by-step module. One recommendation, log in, sign in into your Microsoft account so that it can keep track of all the modules that you have covered, and then you can get your badge. Also, I'm going to be here sharing To learn more about DALL-E, remember this module described the DALL-E image generation model and how you can use it in Azure OpenAI Service to generate images based on natural language prompts. You can explore DALL-E using the playground in Azure OpenAI Studio. You can also use the REST API. Remember, you can use Python or C Sharp, right, to build applications that use DALL-E to generate new images. One tip to learn more about using DALL-E in Azure OpenAI Studio, here is a link, a quick start in the Azure OpenAI Service documentation. We are also providing a QR code for you to just go quickly to that link. And you can also complete interactive learning exercises, watch videos, practice, and apply your new skills. Pablo, do you want to talk about how to prepare and implement a secure Copilot, another session that we have in Ignite?
Absolutely. So right now I gotta talk about two things and some questions because we had amazing questions that we need to answer. But before that, prepare and implement and secure your Microsoft 365 Copilot. So we had amazing announcements. Copilot is automating a lot of things right now, but you need to understand how those work, right? So we have right here more Learn Live at Ignite 2023. You can scan both of QR codes to understand how can implement Microsoft 365 Copilot, and how can examine data security and compliance. Remember, big companies need compliance, and you probably need compliance as well. So take care with that with Microsoft 365 Copilot and our safety guarantees on security. Last topic I want to talk to you is we had a brand new curriculum on generative AI for beginners. That's what I talked. This is chapter 9 on our series, but we have 12 amazing lessons in how can you learn to use generative AI responsibly, how can we start doing generative AI, advanced prompting. Yeah, we talked about prompt on that, low code, UX. We actually have a full timeline with a company that you can build with generative AI. That's one of the things that we're really proud of on that Volgaskin Growth Ecosystems, and are really happy that we can show this to you. So scan the QR code on here, or go to aka.ms/genai-beginners. So this is one of the things that we're really happy of to talk to you guys, folks, and we're really happy to go further. Right now, let's go to some questions because we just have some time. So first, any copyright issues with generating images? Who does belong to? Me and Microsoft? I usually say, read the terms of service. That's what I usually say for this. So, I want to know what should I do? Read this content policy. I paste on chat. This is one of the things that you can read and understand how can I do. Usually, copyright, I want to say, and when you generate an image right now, though I will not say a lot because SILA, but technically you need to take care of copyright. If you want to do something commercial, you need to take care. Usually read the terms of service of any generative AI thing that you use, because this is a new world for everyone. So a lot of things have been discovered even legally. So take care of it and read the terms of service. Next topic. Are URLs that hold images access secured? So the URLs that DALL-E generates, it's the same as any API, right? So it generates that image, it has the blob, but it will be available while you have it. So that's why Alicia said, generate, delete source, delete or resource. Of course, you're not doing generate, but it's basically be careful with your resource endpoints, especially the generated things. But the user usually will not know because the URL is random, but you need to take care of it. And if you want something to not be available, delete after some time. Like you can save to your own backend and then delete, or delete the whole resource if you want to take care of it. And lastly, can texts in image issues be solved with prompting, engineering, or fine-tuning? I would say yes. So of course, depend of what are image issues, right? You can try to do a lot of things with fine tuning and prompt engineering. But first, as I always say, is try to solve a prompt engineering. You can use ROG as well, but ROG usually is not available for Dolly and other things. But this is usually the way to go. Go to prompt engineering, then try to fix. These are some of the questions. We have anything else? Moderators, Alicia, anyone has anything else to talk?
No, just telling you, hey, keep watching Ignite. Thanks for joining us and muchas gracias. Thank you, Pablo.
Muito obrigado, Alicia. This is it, everyone. Thanks for joining the session. Rewatch it to have any doubts and contact me on LinkedIn, Pablo Nunes Lopez as Global Advocate. See ya.
Thank you.